Were we all starved for action after the pandemic? Were the co-stars simply too good to miss? Or can the box office bonanza of John Wick Chapter 4 be credited entirely to Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is no stranger to the action thriller genre. The actor broke with his early career typecasting when he starred in 1999's The Matrix, which was written and directed by the Wachowskis. The Matrix spawned its own franchise, with 2 sequels in 2003 and a 4th film in 2021, all featuring Reeves in his now iconic role as hacker-turned-cyber freedom fighter Neo. However, in the years following The Matrix, Reeves' career hit something of a slump. Things changed when the first John Wick film arrived in 2014, and Reeves triumphantly returned to being an action star. The film stars Keanu as a titular ex-assassin who comes out of retirement to get revenge on the gangsters who killed his puppy and stole his car. It proved to be the perfect vehicle to relaunch Reeves' career as an action hero.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
As opposed to the effects-heavy fight scenes of The Matrix, John Wick reshaped action films by emphasizing the use of practical effects and flowing choreography. This trend continued into the film's production style, with directors Chad Stahelski and David Leitch deploying long takes that kept the action clear and in focus with an emphasis on the stunt work. This involved extensive rehearsals and pre-production planning, but it all culminated in an action film that stood out and established a unique franchise. The first John Wick film did well at the box office, accruing $86 million against a fairly small budget of $20 million. Its surprise success gave Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski the opportunity to reunite for the sequel, John Wick Chapter 2, released in 2017. This time, the film's budget increased but produced even greater returns at the box office while receiving even more favor from critics. Even though many critics appreciated how neatly tied up the first John Wick film was, the further expansion of the universe proved fruitful. In 2019, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum was released in theaters, following Keanu's character on the run, after his excommunication from the High Table put him in the sights of seemingly every assassin in the world. Meanwhile, spin-offs were put into motion as early as 2017, including an upcoming Peacock miniseries titled The Continental, centered on the backstory of the eponymous underworld hotel with Mel Gibson set to star. These days, it can be quite challenging for an original IP to find a place for itself among franchises, but Keanu Reeves feels that audiences are picking up on the film's authenticity. In 2019, Reeves spoke with Collider talking about how the films are very easy to watch, highlighting the thrill of moviegoing that the John Wick franchise exploits. The 2010s were an era of reinvention for many film genres that have become stale. Jordan Peele's Get Out revolutionized the horror genre, while directors like Greta Gerwig and Olivia Wilde created a new generation of iconic coming-of-age movies for teens to fall in love with. In a similar vein, the first John Wick felt like a return to form for a once great genre. In anticipation of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, Rolling Stone recalled the first film's success as the beginning of what would become the seriously crazy go-for-broke open-world action flick franchise of the 21st century. They emphasized how dearly missed action films like John Wick were. In certain ways, John Wick calls back to the days of Sylvester Stallone as John Rambo tearing through the jungle, or even Bruce Willis as John McClane heroically saving his marriage and Nakatomi Plaza from terrorists in Die Hard.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Much of this nostalgia and love have to do with John Wick as a franchise remaining loyal to highly choreographed fight scenes, incredibly complex stunts, gruesome yet entertaining violence, and a smorgasbord of great action movie influences. In the 2020s, it's proven hard to have a successful theater run if your movie isn't part of a franchise. Even critically acclaimed directors like Damien Chazelle or Robert Eggers have seen their theatrical epics falter at the box office, as was the case with their films Babylon and The Northman. It's much easier for success to land with sequels or spin-offs, such as 2023's Creed 3 or fan service favorites like Marvel's Spider-Man No Way Home. It's a problem that poses a dilemma for movie theater chains. The Hollywood Reporter reveals that many theaters underperformed in 2022, despite big releases like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and Avatar: The Way of Water, the latter of which grossed over $2 billion. Although things have greatly improved since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's hard to attract movie fans to the theater when so many high-profile releases are simultaneously released to streaming or available within a few months of their theatrical release. Still, not every movie studio can bank on a word-by-mouth hit like the recent Best Picture winner, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But this is where John Wick Chapter 4 likely benefits. With a studio like Lionsgate backing it, it's hard for anybody to be oblivious to the release of the latest John Wick adventure, thanks to marketing, the attachment of a likable star, and the overall popularity of the previous 3 films in the franchise. While one can credit a lot of the box office success of John Wick to its originality as a franchise and the sheer thrill of watching films like it on a big screen, no one can deny that at the center of it all lies one secret weapon: Keanu Reeves.
That's cool. That's kind.
Reeves is even more talked about than his ex-hitman character on the internet, with many sharing stories about their encounters with the actor in public. Whether it's donating his salary to crew members on his films or going out of his way to give autographs to fans who are too nervous to ask him, it's hard not to fall in love with Reeves. As if there wasn't enough proof of Reeves' awesomeness and humility, the actor seems modest about the love his fans have for him, recently telling people that he really appreciates the goodwill sent his way online. The John Wick franchise went on something of a hiatus due to forced production delays resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. John Wick Chapter 4 didn't even enter principal photography until the summer of 2021, with a release intended for May 2022. That release window for Chapter 4 was complicated by the impending release of Top Gun: Maverick on the same day in 2022, which resulted in it being pushed back to early 2023. By the time Chapter 4 finally premiered in late March 2023, fans have been waiting more than 4 years for the next installment. The release of Chapter 4 in 2023 is also coinciding with an easier return to the theater for many. During the COVID-19 pandemic, lots of people felt hesitant to return to the movies, especially when many studios released films on streaming services shortly after their theatrical release, if not entirely in place of it. However, an action movie with a big star seems to be just a project to woo even the most pandemic-cautious moviegoers back into those seats. It's no secret that Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne make a dynamite duo on the big screen. The two actors first appeared together in 1999's The Matrix, with Keanu playing the lead role of Neo and Fishburne giving an iconic performance as Morpheus, the human rebel who introduces Neo to the truth behind the dystopian future he lives in. The two reprise their roles in The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, though they spent many years apart following the temporary end to the Matrix trilogy. While Keanu returned as Neo in The Matrix Resurrections, Fishburne notably did not reappear as Morpheus, who was instead replaced with Watchmen actor Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as an artificial intelligence designed after Fishburne's deceased character. The two have starred together in the John Wick franchise ever since John Wick Chapter 2, where Fishburne debuted as a Bowery King, the leader of an underground spy organization allied with Reeves' titular character. Fishburne returned in John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, as well as John Wick Chapter 4, which should satisfy the Matrix fans who missed the actor's appearance in The Matrix Resurrections.
After all, a man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
A new face appearing in John Wick Chapter 4 may also represent a big draw for audiences to see it on the big screen. It was reported in 2021 that Japanese-British pop artist Rina Sawayama will be making her feature film debut in the latest John Wick film. Sawayama's music career particularly took off in 2020 with the release of her album Sawayama, which was lauded by critics for its nostalgic factors and ambition in the pop sphere. Sawayama has continued to collaborate with notable artists like Charli XCX and Elton John leading up to her 2022 sophomore album Hold the Girl. Given the aesthetic of her music and her performance in music videos for her songs, she was an easy choice to play the role of Akira in John Wick Chapter 4. According to director Chad Stahelski, Sawayama seems right out of an anime in an interview with NME. The role of Akira takes advantage of this, even with very little screen time. In the film, Akira is the daughter of the Osaka Continental's manager, Koji Shimazu. Koji protects John Wick from the High Table's enforcers and ultimately dies in the ensuing conflict. Fans of Sawayama's music will be thrilled to see her in the action film, and her audience will definitely buy movie tickets to see it. Unfortunately, the latest installment in the John Wick franchise is not without tragedy. In March 2023, only days after its premiere in London, actor Lance Reddick sadly passed away. The actor, known for his performances in The Wire and Lost, was a staple of the John Wick franchise since the very first film, where he debuted as Sharon the concierge of the Continental and a close confidant of his manager, Winston. While all of his John Wick co-stars have been vocal in their grief, Keanu Reeves paid special tribute to Reddick, calling him a beautiful, special person in an interview with CNN, and donning a blue ribbon in remembrance of the actor. Other eulogies poured in from franchise director Chad Stahelski, as well as Reddick's former collaborators David Simon and James Gunn. John Wick Chapter 4 won't be the last time audiences will have the opportunity to watch Lance Reddick perform posthumously. The actor has many future projects lined up, including the John Wick spin-off Ballerina, the Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV adaptation on Disney+, and the 2023 remake of White Men Can't Jump. However, John Wick Chapter 4 has nonetheless been a great opportunity for fans to head to the movie theater and see one of Reddick's final performances as the iconic Continental Concierge. Many moviegoers are flocking to see John Wick Chapter 4 purely because of its stellar reviews. The previous 3 entries in the franchise were all well received by critics, but Chapter 4 clearly raised the bar. Wendy Ide of The Guardian showered the 4th installment with praise, writing, "You expect that the stunts and fight choreography of a John Wick film will be top tier, but even by the standards of the past Wick outings, this is remarkable." Richard Brody of The New Yorker labeled it, "By far the best of the 4 films." And Manohla Dargis of the New York Times called it pure, eye-popping, body-shaking, transporting entertainment. The film is not without its detractors, such as a reviewer for Consequence who criticized the film's thematic low points and lack of coherence, but still found lots to praise about its spectacle. But by and large, the critics love it. It earned a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, based on more than 280 reviews. The John Wick franchise has slowly become one of the biggest original IPs of the 2010s. Nevertheless, John Wick Chapter 4 seems to be the end for now, with director Chad Stahelski telling The Hollywood Reporter that he and Keanu Reeves plan to give John Wick a rest, though he admits it would always be possible for him and Keanu to have discussions that lead to another film. For now, seeing John Wick Chapter 4 is an opportunity that fans of the franchise shouldn't miss out on. However, the franchise isn't going anywhere. Ana de Armas is set to star as Rooney, a ballerina assassin played by Unity Phelan in John Wick Chapter 3, in a spin-off film titled Ballerina, currently set to be released in 2024. Keanu Reeves, Lance Reddick, and Ian McShane are all confirmed to be reprising their roles from the primary John Wick films and Ballerina, which itself may branch out into its own film franchise if it goes over well with audiences. Right now, chances seem slim for a 5th John Wick. Reeves and Stahelski seem to be content with leaving the franchise behind. While the box office success of the latest film has the studio thinking otherwise, it all comes down to Keanu's interest in reprising the role.
You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.